It's not going to be a typical interview as such. It's just a normal conversation.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things you have actually explained, or you already spoken to me about analysis and stuff like that. But just looking at that, maybe we might use this video also to look at people who wants to enter the industry as well, mainly in Indian audience as well. So I thought maybe the questions might be repeatable, or you would have already looked at. Okay, but how's the season this year, Danny? Like, how is the A League going on? I think you guys are currently at the 5th position right now, but you have played less matches. So the guys have played like more matches. So how's been the season so far?
It's been a mixed season for us. Obviously, at the start of the season, we lost from winning the championship last year to now this year. We lost a few players. A few players got better offers to go and play in South Korea and a few other countries. So, we changed maybe 4 or 5 or 6 key players in the team, which is, always difficult when you win a championship to replace that type of quality of player. But it is what it is. We've done okay. We had a period at the start where we weren't gelling quite well together. Obviously, new players coming in, trying to understand tactically, their responsibilities within the team tactically. So it's a little bit tricky, but we are 20 games. We play 20 games. We are 2 games less than the other team. So sitting in 5th. So we're in an okay position. We would have also had Champions League sort of starting up. So we had all these things to manage. So unfortunately, now due to the virus, we have to, sit and wait. But obviously it's safest and best option to do at the moment.
All right. So, Danny, a lot of guys, I think currently at this point of time, a lot of coaches who are actually back home, they're just trying to spend more time sitting at home. They don't have any academies to work upon, or everything is shut right now. So what's your suggestion? What could they spend time on at this point of time?
Review.
Review
all things, review everything that you've done.
Okay.
Go back, like I've just spent time now. The next month, I'm going to review all my training because I video all my training. Look at different things and how, when the football gets up and running again, from that review, looking at the video, how we can coach better. There's always ways where we can learn and we can look at different new things coming to the market, and there's always something tactically that you can learn. So for me personally, I'll be spending time reviewing video from training, video from games. So when we do come time to pick up the league or whatever happens next, then, we can be better placed and I can better inform the athletes and hopefully we can get better outcomes. So it's always, you're never really stopping. You're always looking at at ways you work better within your team, work better within the coaching group. So there's always work to be done, even though it's a bit of an unforeseen circumstance, but it is what it is. There's always time to do stuff.
Right. Amazing. So the review is something which you always suggest for them to go get back and then figure out what's been done, what happened. So you've been a player and now then you transfer into coach. You played Olympics and you played for Leeds United, for your country. So, if I want to ask you, if I want, any upcoming talent, let's say I want to become a top goalkeeper or I want to become one of the topmost or the best goalkeeper around. So it could be from a different age groups. So what is your feedback? What is that as a goalkeeper is a lot more which they want to work upon?
As you said, I've been very fortunate in my lifetime to have the experiences I've had in terms of playing as a professional and now coaching as a professional. So I think my outlook and my view has sort of changed, obviously, from being a player to now being a coach and now looking for the next up and coming type of goalkeeper. So it's difficult. It's difficult because obviously generationally, in Australia, we had a lot of good quality goalkeepers coming through during when I played. So there was maybe 10, 12, even more great goalkeepers at our country that could have played for our national team. Over the years, the focus is, I think, because we've sort of dropped the ball, so to speak, on it. And we as a country always thought we were going to produce good goalkeepers because traditionally we have. I think now we're in a position where we haven't done that. We haven't passed on the information to the next generation. And I think we have a bit of a problem now. So the idea now is, for me, my biggest thing is obviously as a coach, you're looking for the next couple of goalkeepers, young goalkeepers that we can now start to elevate into the first team and also hopefully into bigger and better things. But it takes time. It takes a lot of things to look at, identifying different components to the game because, as much as a lot of the problem, not the problem I find is that a lot of coaches give you opinion, which is great. But when you look with your own eyes, then there are certain things that you will see and where other people might not see that will either attract you or not attract you to that goalkeeper or to that outfield player. So whilst it's important to look at and receive feedback on a player, it's also important to look at many, many games and review tapes. And, yes, asking opinions is very vital, but I think if you know what you're sort of looking for and you can review the tapes and, obviously stuff that you can't review is, personality traits, asking, obviously that's when you would ask someone else, what sort of, mentally are they strong? Obviously physically you can see from the game. So there's things like that where sometimes you need to review and speak to other people, but sometimes I think, once you're looking for the type of goalkeeper, then obviously then you have to, do a lot of review, a lot of looking at videos, a lot of things like that. So there's a real in-depth sort of way of trying to look at the next sort of talent coming through in not only Australia, but obviously in India as well.
Yeah. So in your playing time or playing career, so did you had so much of in-depth feedback system through either a video analysis or the GPS tracker, which you used to use? I mean, this is the technology which has come up quite recently, at least quite early in Australia. So what was it like at your playing career? How did people start leveraging or measuring their fitness or the performances as well?
Well, back in the day, I mean, it was 20 years ago, but we don't have what we have now. We're very fortunate now where we can use a lot of different tools to work out roughly, the player loading. So that's, obviously we have now great video analytical tools where we can see back, but generally in a pre-season, we used to come to England, it was all done by, old methodology of, run 21 kilometers through the bush or through the woods, Yeah. In this day and age, that doesn't exist. That would be deemed as overtraining and potential for the athlete to break down. So, it's definitely evolved a lot over the 20 years since I played football. Obviously, 20 years ago, being in England, I mean. Yeah. So it's evolved a fair bit. So I think now we have, more things that we can look at, more in-depth things that can help paint a better picture, that can help us as coaches and also help the athletes, because we can also now pick deficiencies and potential injuries that we can work with better now that we understand them now. So there's so many different facets now that we can look at to help us as coaches and ultimately get the best out of the players.
Perfect. Yeah. So what's your feedback on becoming a top goalkeeper coaches? I mean, there are players who are actually trying to, they're ending their careers, they might get retired and then are looking into getting to a goalkeeping coaching, maybe at a club or an academy. Some people are trying to set up their own goalkeeping academies as well. It's still new in India, but they're still trying to do it. But again, some people are already starting into the goalkeepers, trying to play at different levels. So what's your feedback on how goalkeeper coaches themselves has to improve on the skills or the knowledge and how they can improve upon stuff?
It takes time. It takes time, Naveen. I mean, I began coaching. I began coaching at from the bottom. I never had any expectation to leave football and walk straight to the top. Yeah. I really wanted to educate myself, and that meant going in at the youth level, at the very junior level, and I used to just coach 3, 4, 5 sessions a week of an evening. So I did that for many years, 3, 4, and then obviously as I started to go and develop my own coaching style, so to speak. Yeah. Then, as I said, it took me time. And then obviously I got an opportunity to work with the women's national team, and I got a chance to work obviously in India for the short period of time with Bengaluru. So over the years, obviously starting small and learning, because goalkeeping is a very technical position. It's a very, very technical position. Yeah. And sometimes the slightest misinformation can cause a major situation in terms of a technical component of the game. So that's why I sort of took my time, because I really, really wanted to understand the science behind, why we're doing something. So that was a real crucial element for me, that I took time. I wasn't in a rush. I wanted to really, really focus and understand why things happen and how I could stop things from happening and create good habits. So that was basically for me. And obviously now this is my 6th year as a full-time professional coach.
Yeah.
You know, working, you know, Asian Champions League and all these other wonderful opportunities, but I'm still learning. I'm still evolving the way I coach now.
Okay.
Because I find the game's evolving. We're trying to evolve our young goalkeepers as well as our older ones, because it's also, we also think that we tend to think as a society that older people don't learn the same, but older people are also the ones that are willing to learn, can also adapt to a new way and evolve themselves as goalkeepers and as players. So that's one thing I learned, because obviously there's a big stigma attached to older goalkeepers saying, oh, you know, he's older, he shouldn't want to learn, you know, he'll just stick to his way he knows, but that's not how it should be.
Right.
You know, there's so much, the game can be, you can extract so much more out of a willing goalkeeper, even if he's 36, 37. If the person's willing to learn, then it's possible to change and possible to evolve and possible to even extend their careers.
Perfect. Amazing. So I look at this, the entire cycle, you know, the thing is the season coming in. First is the scouting of talents, pre-season, and the season starts off, right? So, I mean, this is always a game in terms of, I mean, they're like top coaches, like, you know, they're good in scouting talents, you know, they're like fantastic guys to scout. So how do you scout talents, you know, a young guy trying to make it to the top level, or maybe do you look at some numbers, like, you know, you can just let us know any technology to use, or, I mean, how do you scout talent, you know, the young goalkeepers coming in?
It's a tough one. It's a very tough one because, again, someone might tell you, I really like this player or goalkeeper. And I've had that on many instances where they've showed me numbers and different things. So whilst I've taken it on board, again, I've looked at it thoroughly, but I haven't based all my decisions on merely numbers and stats. I've based my thinking on where can we improve on those things? Is there ability to improve? So that's why I'm sort of looking at, yes, they are critical to me, but they're not critical in a way, as I should say, as it's, you know, it's not the real main attributes that I'm looking for. They definitely form part of the analytical review of the player, of the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
They also allow me to look at where we can improve, because some of the young goalkeepers, they have, obviously, that they have a lot to learn, but how can we physically develop them also? And say if they've had, if had some young developmental injuries during their young careers, then we need to sort of look back at what they've been doing in terms of their training. So, for instance, we've just signed a new young player in our Olympic team, and he's had many hip injuries. But we sort of looked at, we did a bit of an analysis of what he's been doing in terms of his rehab, prehab, and things. And we found that there was many things that were underlying that he wasn't doing because he wasn't prepared to put himself in that position of where he thought he was risking his body.
Okay.
But he actually had to take himself to that point where having the level of exposure to those exercises to help that area of his body develop, and that's what he wasn't doing. So we've now had to undertake that process for maybe the next 3-4 months of rectifying that problem through now educating him, because, you know, I've found that a lot of the young goalkeepers transitioning into senior football, you know, they have underdeveloped bodies. So they have to cope with the physical demands of the training and the physical load, then we now have to start building that up. And I think there's a critical mass where we now have to start thinking about if the players are good enough now as a young player to now step up to the next level. I think there has to be a period of time where they have to not only develop their technical ability, but especially their physical resilience to the actual training and the games.
So mate, if I want to, okay, sorry, go ahead, sorry.
No, that's fine. It's fine. No problem.
If I want to ask you, like, you know, 3 or 4 qualities you want to look at and say, if a young goalkeeper is going to strike your eyes and say, hey, this is someone I'm looking for, what are the 3-4 qualities which you're actually looking at?
3 or 4, good question. Resilience, you know, so resilience, mental resilience. Physical resilience.
Okay.
Because the way that I train and the way that I do things, I ask questions of the athletes mentally and physically. So I need to see it respond, and I need to see them being resilient to not only the mental attributes, because as I said, the way that I tailor my trainings, I think about the exposure and the thought processes of how they do things.
Okay.
So,
okay.
and it's not to pull them up and to say that they're wrong, but their individual goalkeeper as the person they are themselves, how can they redefine and define the best way for themselves to get the best out of themselves?
Okay. Perfect.
So that's all we're sort of looking. So, they're probably the resilience of the mental and the resilience of the physical, and building up the physical are probably some of the key main attributes. And then obviously the finite stuff, then we can build on the goalkeeping tactical and, things like that. So that network of things is sort of what I sort of look to.
Cool. Awesome. So let's move into, let's say if you're hiring a top goalkeeper from another club to your, that you're trying to sign a transfer or trying to look at. So is there any specific numbers do you look at, or, maybe someone might be pushing some goalkeeper, but then, if I want to sign someone for your club, so what are the things do you look at? I mean, do you use some numbers? If yes, what are those numbers looks like for you, or just the videos or his capabilities? I'm sure you would have watched them quite a lot, but then what are the things goes in when you're trying to sign someone?
Well, the main magic number is the club and how much they want to spend.
All right, but the still need to get the
you know what I mean? The magic number is what market are you looking at? Are you looking at David De Gea, or you're looking at so all jokes aside, as I said, that's critical, because obviously whatever the market you're working within is going to ultimately dictate what sort of goalkeeper you're going to be targeting, as well, because as I said, for us professionally, we work within a salary cap league. So normally where I work, the goalkeeper is probably not one of the highest paid within the team. So we're looking at someone who's reliable and efficient, who has experience, who's played games, but also we're looking at potentially a person who's going to come at a certain price for us, and we have to work with and deliver something that the head coach wants. So there's all these different parameters that we're working with, and we understand that it's, as I said, it's just critical to get a person who has experience, yes, but a person who's wants to evolve and wants to work hard, train, the key factors, obviously. But as I said, depending on how the team wants to play, how the head coach wants to play, because not all goalkeepers can play with their feet.
Okay.
So they're all key components that you got to look at.
No, but if I want to ask you, mate, like, I mean, any key numbers, let's say, assuming your salary cap has been stuck, you can't go to hire a high-end goalkeeper and stuff. So given the amount of constraint you have, what kind of numbers, even to to filter on a goalkeeper? I'm looking at these guys. Maybe it could be number of matches he has played, minutes, could be anything. What are the numbers which you might want to use? Any stats which you want to look at? Because currently in goalkeeping, there are a lot of things called XG2 metric. Which angle does it leave the ball? Or how many expected goals has it been saved one-on-one? So is it getting into more details, or is it for you? I just want to understand some numbers if you want to look at, like, to evaluate a goalkeeper.
Definitely. That's definite. Look, numbers, you can have those metrics, obviously, of, speed and movement around the goal and how quick and things like that. Definitely you can look at that. I think it's dependent on what type of team that goalkeeper's playing in.
Okay.
So, for example, if the team is giving away a lot of opportunities at shots around the goals, obviously, the metrics would probably favour, that he has a high save ratio. You want someone who's potentially a pure shot stopper. If you're playing a very open type of attacking game, then, and defending is not really a priority, then you probably want to target someone who's a very good shot stopper and has a good save to shot ratio, if that makes sense.
Save to shot ratio. Wow, nice.
Yeah. So then if you're looking at, if you've got quite a strong defensive line and they don't give up many opportunities, then potentially you're looking at a goalkeeper who's very strong with their feet. who could potentially play out, who could potentially expose spaces in beyond. And I'll share you a video that we've done with Coach Paint.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you're aware of Coach Paint.
Yeah, we are aware. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've just done some things about obviously goal kicks and how, because potentially a goal kick is probably the most difficult to play out from, because teams are static.
Yeah.
So I've done a little bit of research and things in terms of, you know, where you can play balls and you can. So I'll show you. I'll send you the video later.
If you want, I can share it over here. If you want to put it on laptop, we can share it on the screen.
How do I do that?
Yeah,
how do I do that?
Yeah, I'll give you the access for you. I'll make you the host. And can you get a thing called share? You can get a thing called share screen.
Okay, let me have a look. Reactions.
Share
participants. Oh, let me see where that is.
Is
that at the bottom?
Yeah, bottom. Share screen.
Yeah, gotcha. Yep. Okay, so files. Basic. Okay, so do I have to drag it into somewhere?
No, you have to click on share screen. Click on the share screen button.
Oh yeah, I have. Yep, but it's gone to desktop, mail.
Yeah, you have to click on the screen if you want to share. On the top right, you have
files. Okay, Microsoft OneDrive.
And the bottom, there's something called share screen on the bottom.
Oh, share computer, optimize share screen video clip. Let's have a look at that one. Let's see if I can find it, my friend.
Yes, I can. You're just loading.
To share, please install the Zoom audio device. What can you see? Oh, can you?
I'm seeing yeah, I can see you. Yes, perfect.
You can see me?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see this? Can you see that?
Yes, I can see that. Yeah. Just
okay. All right.
Make it full screen. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it now. Okay. So the idea, right? If you can see that picture, so that's obviously. Can you see the arrow? Can you see my arrow?
Yeah.
So you can see my goalkeeper, right?
Yes.
So what we've done is, so this is obviously we're the purple team. So we're defender, centre back.
Okay.
Wing back.
Yeah.
Centre back. Midfielder.
Okay.
Wing back.
Okay.
Number 10, number 9 standing offside.
Right.
So we did some analysis on this guy.
Okay.
Right? On the opposition player. To work out what he would do on a ball. So strategically positioning our number 9 behind him.
Okay.
I'll play the video and you'll see what happens. All right. So this is where we did some homework. Okay. So we worked out how long a goalkeeper could kick it. And then we did some. Okay. I'll play it so you can see. Okay. So we worked out, can you see the distances between the defenders based on our setup?
Yeah. Cool.
So you can see our 2 attackers.
Yeah. So this is from Coach Paint.
So this is our, obviously us filming the game.
Yeah.
And then all these distances are with Coach Paint now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so now you can see. So now obviously the goalkeeper's kicked it.
Yes.
At the moment it's traveled 9 meters, right? So if you can't really see it, but the initial movement of a defender was to go to the ball.
Yeah.
Okay. It's hard to see, but where he was standing back here, I'll try and just go back just a touch. Okay, he's trying to step in, so he goes to step. Okay, he's waiting. Okay, now as he's kicked it and he's realised coming, so now problem.
Yeah.
Wrong side. He now can't get the ball because the body of the attacker, he can't jump for the ball now physically.
Yeah.
So the ball's still travelling in the air. This is now 56.3 metre pass.
Yeah. Correct.
And this is our opposite number 9, right?
Yes.
And to just watch it. So look at that, all in one pass.
Yes, correct.
Who's favourite to win the ball? Our player. Look.
Yeah.
Okay, bounces.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what we sort of started working on. So you can see just from one pass and positioning of players, and we're the goalkeeper, that you can straight away you can be on the attack. Look what's here. You got a 1v1.
Yeah.
And now 1v1.
Correct.
So yeah, that's sort of stuff that we've been
So
doing.
you've already beaten the centre back over there.
Exactly. So if he's opposite number 9 or number 10, he makes a run in and he passes the ball there, you got a 1v1 with a goalkeeper.
Perfect. Amazing. Amazing.
So
So how is this? Can you just take us like, this was planned, this was analyzed, or it was like implemented in your training ground and then back in your, how was this done?
So this is done by setup and looking at what the opponent will do. Because you look at how because they want to try and stop playing out. Okay, they're a high pressing team, the opponent. So they want to try and win the ball 30 meters from goal. So we know that if they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players from that line there, that only leaves 5 it leaves 5 at the back, but it leaves space. Yeah. Because if the ball, look at all the spaces beyond. So we know, and that's what I'm saying. Going back to the example about the goalkeeper, what type of goalkeeper do you want? Yeah. So we've got a goalkeeper that maybe has to make 1 or 2 saves a game, but he can kick the ball 65 meters or 25 meters, and he can catch a lot of teams out. Oh, right. So if I ask you, please go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, that's all right. I was saying because the speed of the ball, by the time it travels to like the wing back here, if he hit that with pace, he's not got much chance. So then that makes him think, well, what do I do? Do I stand back here? Then the ball can come over and we can play it. You know what I mean? So you're creating the possibilities by what you do. And normally, under normal circumstances, a static goal kick is probably the hardest to play out from because people are static. They're not moving. You know what I mean? Yeah, true. So we've made it now possible to make the opponent think straight away when we have a goal kick that it's our advantage. Yeah, perfect. So, mate, one continuing question here, if you can keep the screen. So, I mean, because of the coach paint, you had number of the numbers came out of this. One is how far the goalkeeper can hit, the meters, the distribution of the ball, the distance between the players around, and the center backs, and also between your strikers. So, I mean, are these numbers useful for a coaching or technical team? How much does it really matter? Or like, what are the ways in which they can use it? I mean, would that be great for you to look at a distribution as a goalkeeper coach? Like, how far can you hit? Of course, because then it'll obviously, as I said, if you know 65 meters, so the opponent doesn't really know this, right? The opponent is trying to gauge it. Yeah. But human nature, if they see a ball coming and they obviously want to be aggressive and attack the ball, but sometimes, as I said, body positioning, this person's body positioning, and what these people do to affect his position, and we know now that we want to exploit the space. So we've worked on this at training. This is something where we work on training and we help our goalkeepers. So then, for example, if I go back and he plays the ball there to this centre back, then this player can come into so if this player wants to follow here, come down here, and he wants to try and press this player, then the space will be here for this player to come into. You know what I mean? Yeah. So now we're manipulating the opponent using the numbers, the distances, everything that we know, because we're now using the numbers to analyze all these bits and pieces. So it gives us a better way to paint a better picture. Then we know how we can do that. You know what I mean? Now we know, right, the opponent's going to do this. We've looked at these type of players. We know what they want to do, what patterns of behavior they want to do. So that's what we do. Perfect. This is amazing, mate. Thanks for sharing this. Let the screen be on. I'm not going to take anything out there. So no problem. I got this especially for you today anyway, so I can share this. No problem. No worries. No, I'm just like this. So now, when you move from a scouting of a talent or a goalkeeper, then we look at the goalkeeper preparation before the match. What are the feedback which you might want to a goalkeeper coach want to give it to the goalkeepers? You look at the opponent, the attackers. Where do they attack from? The crosses. So what are the feedback gets in? How a goalkeeper prepares before the match comes in? Training. So the analysis is done by myself and by the analytical team. Then I work out what patterns, the attacking patterns they might have, their strengths and weaknesses, and then I recreate them in training all week. So I break down the components of that particular attacking 3, 2, 1, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I break those components right down. And on the Monday or Tuesday when we start training, those components are sort of the ideas that start to put in place for the rest of the week. And by the end of the week, by the game time, and they see video, every picture becomes clear in their mind.
Right. Amazing.
So yeah, I go right down to that detail, and that's how, as I said, I try and prepare best. For best. I know for team presses, I can give my goalkeeper solutions about where to play out, how to play out.
Okay.
If a team has very deep wingers and they like to cross or switch the ball quite often and stretch the back three, then I tailor trainings around that. So we can set up the goalkeeper in terms of his positioning, and he understands what's coming.
All right, perfect. So, mate, let's say you finish a game on Sunday. Okay, you've got a week's time to prepare for the next match coming up. All right. So, could you just take us through when would those analysis starts off? When do you get some update from your analysis team? When do you put it to practice sessions and then get prepared? I mean, like it could be like match -3, match -2. I mean, can you just take us through different steps there?
Okay, match 90 minutes played.
No. What I meant was today you finished a game.
I know what you mean. I'm telling you. Okay, I'm saying, yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So match completed. Match 90 minutes played against the team.
Yeah.
Coded video ready to go for review straight away after the game.
That's a post-match.
Post-match straight away. There's video ready for review.
Mm-hmm.
That morning, the video would be reviewed already from the game the evening before.
Okay.
So we can try and get the review out straight away for obviously the goalkeepers, for the players, so we can look at critical things and we can start planning our training on what we need to improve.
Okay.
And then obviously we can start once we've got the review out of the road quite quickly. We not only do we look at straight after the game is completed, we've also probably if we played on a Sunday and the opponent the following week's opponent has played on a Saturday, we already have those games on the Saturday. We already have them ready to look at during the week.
Correct.
So the analysis is ongoing, like 24/7.
No, when you spoke about you would give some inputs about, let's say the opponent is pressing them, so you're going to put all those into training, right? So about the opponent, you would need let's say 3 or 4 days before the match comes up, so that you can put on your training, or it's just 1 week, just the opponent last match is over and everything is ready for you to implement that on the training field.
No, we try, like as I said, if there's say if we have 4 or 5 goalkeepers at training, which I normally like to have. So we have, there's plenty. There's always stuff where we can implement that we can. As I said, there's always plenty of players and there's always plenty of goalkeepers that we can implement the ideas for all our goalkeepers.
Okay.
Because we just don't want our number 1 goalkeeper to understand the ideas. We want our number 4, 5, 6 with our youth team to understand, because the ideas are filtered down through the whole squad, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we want them to be able to have those thought processes ingrained already as well into them. So that's why they will partake in also the review, the preview. They look at every video, so they completely understand what's going on. And when it's time for them to go into their respective games, they have the ideas in their mind. They have the solutions already painted, the pictures already painted in their mind. Now it's about how they're going to execute them. So
perfect. Yeah, that's great. So, mate, so I'll come into some of the technical staff you work with, like basically your analytical team. How are they put up? So, what is the expectation for you as a goalkeeper coach from the analytical team? What do you expect for them to provide? How much in-depth knowledge they need to have? Because a lot of our audience are someone who wants to improve on the analytical skills, plus also trying to enter to this market as well. Hey, how do I become a great football analyst? So these are the 2 set of people. So what is the expectations from a goalkeeper, from the coaches, from these guys? It could be their technical knowledges, or the game knowledge, or multiple things. So what is your or input about your expectations from them, from analysts?
Yeah, look, analysts come from different backgrounds. We all know that. We just have a new analyst. He come from, yes, he was involved with football for a short period of time, but he was involved in a different industry. which is not a problem. You know, he was involved in the banking industry. He was doing analytics as a part-time thing after his day job, and now he's had the opportunity to work as a full-time analyst. So, you know, there's always scope to, you know, for me, for when I work, obviously we try and work together. I try and help him as much as he helps me. So it's like, I find the relationship very, very important with our analyst, you know, because I understand that obviously he's looking at a lot of video, looking at a lot of bits and pieces to help our team and help myself and my goalkeeping group and the outfield playing group become better. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of time. They spend a lot of time looking at a whole range of things, and it's not easy. It's time consuming. It does take a lot of time to look in depth into something. It depends, you know, it depends what sort of analytical mind you have and what you're looking for as well. Mm-hmm. Obviously with more experience and the more that you do it, obviously that analytical focus will become more focused, I should say, on, you know, understanding what you're looking for. Yeah, so then you'll spend less time on the stuff that the head coach may not want, and you'll spend more stuff looking at the really focused things that the head coach does want and how they can win games or how we can improve better. So I think this developing the skill of understanding the game and understanding and having the feeling of what your coaching staff want and how you're going to work within that environment. Because I think sometimes a lot of analysts can do a lot of things that in the workflow, I think especially when they're new, they try and do a million different things, but the focus might not be what's required for that time, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, correct.
Sometimes a lot of new analysts will go into a job and go, well, I want to show how good I am.
Yeah.
But my first words to our new analyst was, look, you can code 55 games in one night. That's fantastic for you. I said, but in all honesty, that's not going to help myself or the head coach, because we're not going to look at 55 games.
Yeah.
We have a certain period of time. We want to paint a picture in a certain period of time to give to the players, and we want to make that as effective as possible. Yeah, so I think the key for all that is to really, really get in depth. Yes. Keep it to the point. Yes. And make it something that your head coach can really utilize and work with, and have the solutions for, you know, a few different scenarios if it doesn't go, if it's going well and not going so well in the game.
Yeah. So I think I read somewhere that, I think in one of the interviews I was watching, like, it's not about giving more information. It's all about giving the right information to the coaches, which is more important, you know. Right. So that becomes very useful for the coaches.
And that's something for the analyst to work out. Yeah. It's like a relationship. I mean, if you're with your wife, you've got to work out what she likes and what she doesn't, the same as with your head coach. You've got to work out what your head coach likes and doesn't like. You know, you might be wasting his time. Yeah. So you've got to really work out what is important to them and how they want to display it.
All right, perfect. So any skills, because like if someone wants to pick up as a football analyst and they want to work in the industry, top 3 skills you would suggest for them, because they're not already working with the coaches. So if they want to become an analyst, what are the top 3 things would you recommend for them to pick up so that, you know, they can start getting things done?
Yeah, top 3. I think understanding the game. I think understanding tactics now. Obviously, if you're going to get involved in football, it's important to know what you're seeing, and it's important to know how you're going to transfer that message. Because if you don't know what you're looking at and you don't know what you're seeing, then it's going to be difficult for you to transfer a message onto your head coach. So that's why going back to what I said to you initially about the training, about when I first started, for me, that was essential to learn about the game, every detail, because I knew down the track that once I learned the details over time, then it would help me see different things. Now that I'm 10, 11 years down the track, I see different things now. But it's important as you go through as you go through and evolving as an analyst. You know, you'll grow. The more you look at games, the more you'll look at it differently, and the more you look for things. So the more you'll evolve your technique or your analytical tools, because now there's so many different analytical tools as well. There's so many different things on the market. And as I said, it's what fits your circumstances. I always go back to the basics. Yeah. Because if I don't have the fancy tools like Coach Payne or that, then I have to I have to use the basics, and the basics I always stick to and are strong because I understand how to paint that picture to my players. Because, as I said, I don't. While this is wonderful, coach paint is wonderful.
Yeah.
I still did this without coach paint. This is just an example with coach paint, but I still saw the same picture of these positioning without all these fancy squares. And it's great to have, but the fundamentals for me are the best.
Mm-hmm. So is it always necessary to use these animations or annotations, we call it as, on the pitch? Is it like, people, it become very fancy, let's say from a broadcaster point of view, like on a TV to show to a fan, but when you're explaining it to a professional players, is that a necessary or mandatory to have these kind of things, or it all depends on the coaches?
Yeah, it depends on the coach, but it's more prevalent in professional football because obviously players want to, see detail, and you can provide further detail. So those tools are available. So that's what we do. We provide as much detail so the player in their mind can understand, that's the distance between the players and what seeing the bigger picture, what might that present to the player and how we can take advantage of it. So, ultimately, as I said, this can be done quite simply with circles and, in Keynote or PowerPoint. You can take a snapshot of it and do the same picture.
Correct.
Because what you see now, a still shot, that still paints a million words for me just now without it playing.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So you know what I mean? So you see it.
So great. So hey, thanks, mate, for your time. I just leave to you to just give you some of maybe your advice or suggestion for the goalkeeper coaches or players out there at this point of time, how they can improve on their knowledge, what can be done. It could be like 1 or 2, 3 things which you can just highlight them so that people can start implementing it, maybe in a context like an Indian country or some other place as well.
Yeah, look, like I said before, the position of the goalkeeper has evolved immensely, and it depends on, as I said, what style of goalkeeper you're coaching. There's a goalkeeper who, as I said, can feel comfortable off his line, can protect the back four, can play with his feet or back three. So the goalkeeper coach now has to understand and evolve themselves to get into the mind of the goalkeeper that they're coaching and say, right, I'm going to look at the finer details that I have in front of me and how we can make him better and perform better on the park. So, that's a process. That's a process of actually looking at myself as a coach, because as I said, this has taken me, and I'm still learning every day, and I'm still trying to evolve every day. Right. I'm still thinking about how to get better. So this is an ongoing process. This is not just something that, this video is not something that I thought of overnight. This has taken time to see the picture, to understand, to build. And that's what I'm saying. The more that you goalkeeper coach and the more that you get exposed to seeing different goalkeepers and understanding what makes that goalkeeper good and also how you can improve that goalkeeper. So I think that's important. Looking at, even the best, if you get a chance to look at Premier League and look at the differences in the styles of goalkeeper that play within the Premier League or even in the Indian Premier League. Yeah. There's obviously there's so many different styles of goalkeeper and what makes them good for their team. I think is important for them to look at and start understanding better, because once they understand that better, it'll give themselves a better outlook on how they can formulate their trainings for the future.
Yeah, perfect.
So it's a massive revolving circle, and as I said, the more you look at it, the more you understand. The more you don't overcomplicate the technical the aspects of the game. The more you understand that, the more you can help your goalkeeper. And as I said, the more you can start evolving and looking at patterns of things that happen not only within your team in terms of, because last season when we won the championship, I did a lot of work with our back three and getting I think I told you this before about the human traits of what they used to do under pressure in these certain circumstances and where we could space off our goalkeeper and how we could help out. So, really down to that detail, I looked at it and I thought, well, I can help more than just the usual stuff. I can also help them find solutions in what they need to do if they get pressured. I've been pictures. So there's so many components. Don't get lost in the technical stuff, because at the end of the day, all my trainings consist of the fundamentals, because when in pressure, I find when there's a pressure moment, if the goalkeeper has good fundamentals, 90 to 95% of the time, the goalkeeper will execute the task and make a great save or play out under pressure, or they'll make better decisions most of the time. So long as you're focusing on those fundamental aspects of the game, there's no need to, there's no need to try and make something really fancy so it looks impossible to do. Make it practical, make it understandable, and make the goalkeeper be able to do it when he's under pressure, and you see evidence of it happening, and you go, well, wow, my goalkeeper is like doing this and it's under pressure, and we've worked on that. And that's good signs when that's happening. When the stuff you've worked on and you're seeing it being demonstrated back, that's good stuff. That's ultimately what you want to be. That's great, mate. Thanks for your time. I think this was a great interview. There's always a new learning whenever I speak to you around. So that's always I look forward for you. Sorry for, if it's been a bit of a hassle for you to be all about this point of time. But no, it's fine. It's fine. We're all, you guys as well. We're all doing this for the greater good of humanity. Once this all passes, and this virus has left the world, and as I said, we can all go back to some sort of normality again, and we can move forward. So cool. Thanks, mate. Stay safe back home. Likewise, my family. I hope you're good, and I'll stay in touch with you. The couple of things I wanted to discuss around, but we'll make it available for a lot more people to watch it, so that there's a good knowledge they can take it up from here. No worries, my friend. No worries. All right, catch you, mate. Bye.